عن ابن عباس رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم والذي نفسي بيده لو جيء بالسماوات والأرض ومن فيهن وما بينهن وما تحتهن فوضعنا في كفة الميزان ووضعت شهادة أن لا إله إلا الله في الكفة الأخرى لرجحت بهن. أخرجه الطبراني. عن ابن عباس رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم والذي نفسي بيده لو جيء بالسماوات والأرض ومن فيهن وما بينهن وما تحتهن فوضعنا في كفة الميزان ووضعت شهادة أن لا إله إلا الله في الكفة الأخرى لرجحت بهن. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, I swear by Allah who controls my life, that if all the skies and the earth with all the people and all the things between them and all that may be within them are placed together in one pan of the balance, and the faith in La ilaha illallah is put in the other pan, the latter will outweigh the former. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, I swear by Allah who controls my life, that if all the skies and the earth with all the people and all the things between them and all that may be within them are placed together in one pan of the balance, and the faith in La ilaha illallah is put in the other pan, the latter will outweigh the former. The subject matter has been described in many ahadith. It admits of no doubt that nothing can be equal to the blessed name of Allah. It is really a great misfortune and deprivation for those who take it lightly. However, the weight of this kalima is proportional to the ikhlas, the sincerity with which it is uttered. The greater the ikhlas, the weightier becomes the kalima. It is to cultivate this ikhlas that one has to remain in the service of the Sufia. According to one hadith, the above mentioned saying of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was in connection with another subject matter. He had said, encourage a dying person to recite La ilaha illallah, because he who recites this kalima at the time of his death gets entitled to enter paradise. The Sahaba inquired, O Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what about reciting it during good health? Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam replied, that is even more effective in obtaining entitlement to paradise. And then stated on oath the hadith related above. May Allah give us tawfiq to act upon this, to have yaqeen in these, just as we have faith in all these other things, treatments, and there's nothing inherently wrong in it, just that there's no guarantee in it. A person might take Tylenol, and the Tylenol may get rid of his headache, it might not get rid of his headache. People generally see that there is a benefit in taking it, but it's not a guaranteed benefit. But in these things where Allah and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam have promised some benefit, then that benefit will definitely be there. So we should make it a point that just as there's nothing wrong with taking treatments, but having yaqeen in them is problematic. That we have conviction that for sure they're going to solve our problems. We should know that Allah is the only one who solves our problems. And sometimes Allah, by His, through His infinite knowledge and wisdom, He decides to keep us in a temporary problem and a little problem in the world, so that Allah, He removes a greater problem down the line. There was one Sahabi, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu. He asked Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or this topic was brought up in front of him, that what are these little difficulties and hardships we go through? And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him that these are means of forgiving a person's sins. They're kafarat. They're means of forgiving a person's sins. So at that point, Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, he made this dua, O Allah, give me such a fever that remains with me till I die. Give me such a fever that remains with me till I die, but which does not prevent me from my fasting, from going to the masjid, from my salat, from any of my deeds. So whenever people met him, they would notice that he was, always in a state of fever. His temperature was always high, but he was always active. He was always able to do whatever he needed to do in terms of his amal. And through this, he wished to have all of his sins forgiven. So sometimes, we take these asbab, and we know that, you know, Allah will take care of us. Allah will give us shifa. Allah will cure us. And sometimes, Allah has destined something better for us. He has destined that we should be forgiven and that our status should be elevated in the hereafter. And if Allah has destined that, then, we'll get our payday down the line. And then when we see what it is, we'll wish that, maybe we had some more hardships. That'll be something down the line that we'll think. May Allah give us afiyah in this world, ease and comfort. But if Allah will test us, then may Allah give us that conviction to get through those tests, content, and knowing that Allah has something better stored for us down the line. Allah give us all this tawfiq. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanakallah wa bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Salamun ala al-mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.